Imagine waking up in a world where every screen watches you. A world where your phone listens, your government tracks, your employer monitors, and your thoughts are slowly shaped by invisible algorithms. Now imagine that someone predicted this world nearly 80 years ago. Not a tech billionaire, not a futurist, a writer. In 1949, Orwell published a novel called 1984. Most people think it is just a story about a dictatorship. They are wrong. It was a warning. And the terrifying part is that Orwell's nightmare did not arrive wearing black boots and carrying rifles. It arrived carrying smartphones. The most famous phrase from 1984 is simple. Big Brother is watching you. In Orwell's world, giant screens were installed everywhere. Homes, offices, hallways. Every movement was monitored. Every word could be overheard. Every facial expression could be interpreted as disloyalty. The citizens never knew when they were being watched, so eventually they behaved as if they were being watched all the time. That was the genius of the system. The government didn't need guards on every street. People became their own prison guards. Today, surveillance looks different. The cameras are smaller, the screens are brighter, and many of them sit willingly in our pockets. Every search, every click, every location, every second of attention. Data has become the most valuable resource on Earth. We are constantly observed, not always by governments, but by corporations, platforms, and systems designed to understand our behavior better than we understand ourselves. The nightmare Orwell described was not simply surveillance. It was self-surveillance. A society where people censor themselves because they assume someone is always watching. Look around. How many people refuse to speak honestly because they fear being judged online? How many hide their real opinions? How many carefully construct digital versions of themselves? The telescreen evolved. It became social media, and we carry it everywhere. But Orwell's darkest prediction wasn't surveillance. It was the destruction of truth itself. In 1984, the government constantly rewrites history. Newspapers are edited, records disappear, facts change overnight. If the party says something happened, then it happened. If the party says it never happened, then it never existed. The terrifying slogan was, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." At first, this sounds impossible. How could people accept obvious lies? Orwell understood something disturbing about human psychology. People do not merely seek truth, they seek belonging. And when belonging conflicts with truth, many choose belonging. Today, information moves faster than ever. Millions of voices compete for attention. Facts drown in noise. Truth becomes fragmented. People no longer ask, "What is true?" They ask, "Which side is saying it?" The result is a society where reality itself becomes negotiable. And when reality becomes negotiable, power becomes unlimited. Because people who cannot agree on what is real cannot defend themselves from manipulation. One of Orwell's brilliant ideas was newspeak, a language designed to eliminate dangerous thoughts. The government didn't merely ban ideas, it removed the words needed to express them. Think about that. If you cannot describe freedom, how do you fight for it? If you cannot articulate dissent, how do you resist? Orwell understood that language is not just communication. Language shapes thought. The fewer words people have, the fewer ideas they can imagine. Modern societies don't have an official newspeak, but something similar happens whenever complexity is replaced by slogans. Whenever people stop discussing and start labeling. Whenever conversations become reduced to simple tribal categories. The goal doesn't have to be censorship. Sometimes all it takes is making people too angry to think, too distracted to reflect, too divided to listen. A mind trapped in emotional reaction becomes easy to control. Perhaps the most frightening concept in 1984 is doublethink. The ability to believe two contradictory ideas at the same time, to know and not know, to lie while sincerely believing the lie, to reject evidence while claiming to defend truth. Orwell believed totalitarian systems survive through contradiction. Citizens learn to stop questioning. Logic becomes irrelevant. Consistency becomes unnecessary. Only loyalty matters. Look closely at the modern world. People often hold contradictory beliefs without noticing. They condemn manipulation while consuming it. They celebrate individuality while desperately seeking approval. They demand freedom while surrendering privacy. The human mind is remarkably capable of self-deception, and power thrives wherever self-deception flourishes. The party's ultimate goal was not obedience, it was ownership. It wanted control over the inner world of every citizen, not just actions, not just speech, thought itself. The protagonist, Winston Smith, commits the greatest crime imaginable. He thinks independently. He keeps a diary. He questions official narratives. He tries to preserve a private self. That is what makes him dangerous. Every authoritarian system fears one thing above all else: the individual who can think for himself. Not because one person is powerful, but because independent thought is contagious. One person asks a question, then another, then another. Eventually, the illusion cracks, and power built on illusion cannot survive truth. Many people read 1984 and assume Orwell was warning about a specific government. He wasn't. He was warning about a pattern that can emerge anywhere. Whenever fear becomes a tool, whenever truth becomes flexible, whenever surveillance becomes normal, whenever people trade freedom for comfort. The danger is not one dictator. The danger is human nature itself. Our desire for certainty, our fear of exclusion, our willingness to surrender responsibility. The road to tyranny is rarely forced. Often it is volunteered, one small compromise at a time, one convenience at a time, one fear at a time, until people wake up and realize they have built their own cage. At the end of 1984, Winston finally breaks. The system wins, not by killing him, but by conquering his mind. That is Orwell's darkest message. The greatest prison is not made of walls, it is made of beliefs. Because once a person loses the ability to distinguish truth from lies, once they stop questioning, once they surrender their inner freedom, the chains become invisible. And invisible chains are the hardest to escape. George Orwell did not write 1984 to predict the future. He wrote it to prevent it. The question is, were we paying attention? Or are we becoming the very society he feared?